Hello everybody, welcome back to Gelvin Valley. Wonderful map on Farming Simulator 15. We are in the middle of threshing. I'm going to get our combine going here. Actually, we're in the early morning hours of threshing. Always takes a little bit to get it set up. Let's go to our trusty tractor. See, I think he should be able to haul away now that we have a couple rounds. Or he shall attempt, and probably end up tangling with a fence or two. Is it just me? It seems like the sound is... Seems like the sound is a little louder than normal, but oh well. You know, I almost think I'm gonna need this guy over... Ah, he's already slipping. And he's through the entire fence. Yeah, let's see if we can back him up. I'm not holding much hope. But at least with this, as I recall, you could move him a little bit. Now let's try it. No, 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 no. You don't need to go to the same spot. Oh, I can almost hear Atomic 67 talking to me if I don't take over here. I think we must have had some rain. You know, there's enough time that goes by in between the times when I record. I can't remember. Oh, come on, Combine. Do you need a written invitation? Sometimes you just wonder what goes through the head of the AI. I mean, isn't this pretty simple? Just to start up the corner here and let her rip? Seems so to me. You know, let's take care of this right now, though. It has those IC controls, which I'm again gonna turn off. Let me go back to here. Let's see if he can go offload. Maybe he'll make it up there. No, 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 no. There's no need to. Good gracious. It must be really difficult to program the algorithms behind a mod such as horseplay. I know I've commented on this many, many times. As many times as I admit exasperation, I have to at the same time admit admiration, because what seems simple to the human eye can be very difficult to program so that the computer knows what to do. I think I need to remove the combine assignment. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to shuttle a tractor down here. Because obviously I'm going to need to do some windrowing down here before I do it over here. It's been several days since I recorded an episode. Not that anybody cares, but Past couple episodes, I think I was describing getting ready for a family trip. Oh my goodness, that's really moving this around. Um, had a lot to do to get prepared for it, and today we just got home from being away on our trip, and it always amazes me just how quickly the time goes. And we left on our trip on a Wednesday. I think it was 7:30 in the morning. We left our home, and we got home today, which is a Saturday, probably around the same time, only in the evening, maybe about 7:45. So basically 4 full days trying to carve out some time for family, do a little fishing trip. And anybody listening to this that is self-employed or has been that before knows how challenging that can be to carve out the time, which seems kind of counterintuitive. Actually, you know what? Let me get going around here. I'll see if I can get started on it. Turn off my blinkers. And, of course, our T6 160 is slipping. Let me get this going so I can get it out of the way of the tractor when it comes through on horseplay. Oh, come on. Off the fence. I'm just going to do my combine driver a favor and get him all turned around. There we go. So like I was saying, it always amazes me. Now, why would you go down there? There we go. There's something that tells you to turn way behind the combine. I don't understand why that is. But it always amazes me how quickly these trips go. 4 days just gone in a vapor. Of course, I gotta say, a lot of that time was spent catching up on some sleep. Even as I record this right now, I'm back to my old habits. This is after midnight. Seems to be when the house is quiet and I can do these kinds of things. But I couldn't do any of that while I was gone. I took the computer with me, but much to my disappointment, I couldn't play Farming Sim. I could, I think, some of the more recent versions, but for whatever reasons, there were some things I wanted to try um, in these older versions, and I just couldn't get the thing to load up. And it probably has something to do with at home here. I do all this on 2 screens. Um, the standalone screen runs the game, whereas I don't run it on the laptop unit itself. So I think it was a graphics problem or issue or whatever. I really don't know, but was quite disappointed that I couldn't do it. But oh well. Break from the game never hurt anybody. I was just glad to spend some time with the family and be with them. You know what? Let me get this out of the way of our combine because it's probably gonna protest a little bit. Maybe. Yeah, I'll just sneak out of its way. We'll just take care of a problem before it arises. Maybe I'll just accumulate this while we're doing. So I think I mentioned, not that anybody cares, um, although I guess I would ask in advance, any of you that happen to listen to this whenever it comes out, hey, say in the comments what you do on your family vacations if and when you're able to carve those out. I know it can be a challenge sometimes to get away with busy schedules and everything. But for us, it was a fishing trip, and I'll just say at the get-go, I think I've mentioned this before, I am no fisherman at all. That is something my sons are interested in, and I'm just trying as a dad to do better than I have in the past, to channel that interest and feed it, and to create opportunity for them to exercise it. It's one thing to have an interest in Farming Simulator, and I do plenty of things here to channel my own interest, but to try to do that also with my boys, with stuff they're interested in. So this particular trip here, I think I went and explained, that we couldn't go to the normal area because of forest fires, and it's kind of a nasty fire season, and there's a major fire. It still isn't contained. I just checked the map again this evening of where we usually would go for a trip like this, and finally now they're at least indicating they have some containment, and I have no idea how they figure this out. They claim that this massive fire, which has grown to, I think they reported 114,000 acres, they have it at 18% contained. Just how they figure that 18%, I haven't a clue. But they do. Alrighty, maybe, oh, for corn's sakes. Yeah, there's another interesting thing here. When one is moving, the other can't. We're going to do this guy a favor again. We're going to turn him around. So props to the people who fight these fires. It's interesting. There's a website I go to that has this information on it, if you will, where the fires are, kind of shows on the map where the fires are located and what size of area they take up. And it's really amazing, to see, well, just how much is 114,000 acres. What does that look like, in terms of relative size on the state? And it's it's pretty appalling, really, just how much of an area these fires take up. But they're still fighting it. The good news is we're getting closer and closer to fall, and you know, I guess I haven't seen it down there, so I can't really say it, but I don't think it's raging quite as bad as it was, because we have had some rain even down here in the valley, and I know it's also been a bunch up in the mountains, so I think that that's helping. But ultimately, the main thing that's going to help stop all of this that happens every year is when the snowfall hits. We're still kind of a ways off from that. This is September as I'm recording this, but it's coming soon. That seems to be what ultimately brings an end to fire season. It's just a covering of snow to dampen all the fire underneath. So just wish we didn't have it, but it's the same nature most of the time. At least it seems on some of these I've looked at, it appears to be nature itself that starts these. Let me see. All right, waiting. With a lightning storm or whatever, and it gets started in the forest. So nature gives and nature takes. Maybe that's the simplest lesson. But anyway, be all that as it may, it forced us to change our plans, so we went up north, and fortunately there aren't any fires going on up there at the moment, so we had to go to a place that was a little more expensive to get into as a family, but that's all right. We'll make it work, and I was pleased we got a refund on the other place so we can move it to next year. Well, that's definitely a consideration for families, the cost of vacations and housing and everything. So we headed up there, It was on a Wednesday. We left 7:30. I think I mentioned we took our dog this time, which is something I've never done. I'm definitely going to do it again. We got into a home that was, quote, pet friendly. Really wasn't that bad. I thought we'd experiment, with my allergies. I think I was a little more stuffed up, but fortunately it wasn't too bad at all. And our puppy was a real trooper. Definitely would do it again. I just had to take enough stuff along for her, that was familiar. So she is crate trained or kennel trained, if you will, meaning at night we keep her inside a small box, if you will. Box maybe I mean it's a little hut, a little house, mainly for her own protection. We like taking her collars off so she can sleep comfortably. But we keep her in there because there's coyotes in the area and we don't want her hurt. So we trained her a long time ago to be crate trained. So we took her kennel up with us every night. She could sleep in the same thing that she was used to sleeping in. Only this time we kept her just off the kitchen of this house. So I think it took a little for her to get used to prancing around in this house. The only thing these people asked us not to do was to have pets on the furniture, so we try to be careful of that. I mean, we really haven't given her any training as to how to behave in a house. So, I mean, all the way down to, going to the bathroom. I mean, she just doesn't know. And I'm just pleased that there was no accidents in the house. And, we just tried to regularly take her outside and get her some time so she could take care of doggy business, if you will. But otherwise, she was inside and did a great job. Sometimes I know during mealtime we had to put her away. She's just not used to it. And for a couple times there, she was trying to jump up on the table. And maybe some of you listening to this, you have pets in the house and you've long ago trained them on how to behave and whatnot, and we're just novices at that, so we maybe got more work to do with her, but glad to have her along. And it's the family. I know I've talked about this in a previous video. We used to have two dogs, now we have one. One of them was unfortunately run over by my brother, and it's been hard on the family dealing with that. Um, I gotta say, for me, it's almost like a feeling of regret, where you had something and you never fully appreciated it when you had it until it was taken away. And now, I mean, I gotta admit, I miss that little fur ball, and so it's caused us to do some different things, including taking our pet along. And I know we commented a couple times, just how fun it was having a dog along. And the sheer irony of it is, if we still had our other dog, we probably never would have tried it. And kind of wouldn't know what we were missing out on, I guess. So maybe this is all old hat to other people. Maybe you take your pets with you wherever you go. Just for us, it's plowing new soil, if you will. So we got up there. It's a couple hours drive from the home. So we got up there 9:30, 10, somewhere in there. And my this lake that we went to, it's one of those lakes where they won't let you use a motorized boat. So we towed a boat up there, borrowed it from my father. It's a motorized boat. But my son also went and borrowed from some cousins a canoe and a kayak and some of those things. So we hauled that up there also. Probably made a lot of wind drag on our car to get it up there, but I think it was worth it. But what it meant is that they had to use the canoe on this particular lake. And the significance of that is I didn't get to go out with them. The canoe, oh, maybe it would have held a third person, but really it would be kind of uncomfortable. There's really only two seats in it, and I'm kind of dead weight, if you will, because I'm not a fisherman. So only my son's fish and there's 2 seats, so they just headed on out there, and I stayed on shore with my wife. We ended up going on a hike kind of around the lake, which was nice. Although we couldn't get all the way around the lake, it was, oh, we could go about halfway. They were doing some construction on the other end of it. I guess a bridge went out. It would have been about a 2-mile hike, so not very far. Are you gonna let me empty into you? Let me see if you will. Please, pretty please. Aha. Alright. You know what? I think we don't have... Is it just 2 more fields to do? We are snapping through this harvest. There we go. 37 and 8. So we're going to head on up the trail here. Can I get out is the question. Phew! I know it looks like horrendous cheating to see that. But what can I say? Let me get out of the way. I have plenty of fuel. I'm going to put this here. Go back to my tractor real quick. I'm just going to manually dump him. And then I'm going to try something. I'm going to start him mid-route and see if I can get him to head over to field 37, which we're going to be doing next. So let me load that up. 37 combi to storage. No, that's not what I had in mind. Let me try that again. Actually, let me make sure. Yeah, it should be going in there just fine. I don't know why it didn't stop, is the thing. There we go. I just had to threaten it a little bit. So, let me get back to my combine here, and we're gonna go. We'll get her up there. Whoop. You know what I'm gonna do? Ah, this is one of those things about suspending reality. It's kind of one of those things you gotta do with horseplay. You know, I've been routing my tractor through field number 8, and every time it drives over the top of unharvested grain, at least till I get there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load up the same course, 37 combi to storage, and I'm gonna, when I get to the field, I'm gonna see where this goes, and I'm gonna combine a strip so that when my tractor comes through that area, at least it's driving on an area that has already been harvested. It'll kind of gum up the works, you know, when I come in later to harvest it a little bit, but this way, this would be what you would do in real life. I remember seeing it all the time on the farm. If you weren't ready to harvest a particular field, oh, I was supposed to do some more work off cam. I'm doing damage to this poor header. Yeah, I need to widen that bridge just a little bit more so I can fit this thing through. Let's see, is my tractor coming? It sure is. But this is something you do all the time in real life. You know, if you're not ready to harvest the field, but you need to drive through it, maybe you would take one strip out of the field wherever you're going to be driving, if it's for the sake of convenience, just so you can do it. So that's what I'm going to do here. Actually, let me, I'll just get in between both of these. So it won't be totally perfect, and I'm probably not going to be able to yeah, this is spreading apart a little bit. Whoa, Nelly. Now it's also going to go into that field over there, and it's going to be out into areas that hasn't been harvested just yet. But you know what? I can at least make this work over here, and I'll feel a little bit better about it. This is what we would do in real life. I'm going to get rid of this because we're not using it. We did that just to see our course. Drop our straw in the field. Alright, then back on the road we go, because I don't think I can get through the fence over there, so I gotta come up and around. Fortunately, I don't think the tractor will be following me because I'm not over 50% full. And maybe what I really should do is just simply harvest field number 8 first. I mean, it's just kind of a dinky little field, but oh well. We'll just harvest a strip of it for the moment. I like doing number 8 last because it's right next to the home base kind of for this combine. So right as we're done, we can kind of drop it off and be done. Anyway, I'm not doing very good getting through our trip here, so wife and I took a hike around the lake, just a couple miles. I had to go out and back, and like I mentioned with the pet, I'll just mention that here again. This particular dog, in the past, we didn't walk that much. We walked her sister a whole lot more. It was one that my wife kind of trained. You know, took her to puppy school training to heel and walk beside. So that tended to be the one that we would walk with, and the other dog, the one that we have now, was more my son's responsibility, and let's just say he wasn't as diligent in training the dog as what my wife was with the other. But we've since gone to work, you know, with this particular dog so we can go out walking with her. Oh, I think I go down here. There's a double gate opening. So we took her out on the trail, and man alive, you know, I was reminded of just how much dogs like sniffing stuff. She wanted to sniff everything, and I think with good reason. I think there were a number of other dogs kind of in the area, and of course every time one of them does its business on something, every other dog is going to want to smell the area, get acquainted, whatever. So that was kind of funny just watching her, and you never knew what she was going to stop and sniff at. It might be a bush, a tree, a rock. My word, the amount of attention she gave to some rocks made me wonder if she had rocks in her head. You know, just I couldn't see anything, but to a dog it must just be a smorgasbord of new sensations or whatever as they get out and explore a place they've never been. So wife and I walked around, saw where they were working on constructing a new bridge, if you will. They told people to stay out of the area, and I can see why. We didn't try to go any further. I was just wondering, this kind of thing fascinates me. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, and I wouldn't say this is totally the middle of nowhere. I better go help my horse play. But I always wonder, how do they get equipment, machinery, manpower, whatever you call it, out where it's needed? Some of these trails go way off in the boondocks, and you just wonder who's the poor sap that had to haul wood out there or tools, to construct a bridge of all things. So sometimes I think the Forest Service or whoever does this kind of thing has other drivable access trails, that the general public doesn't have access to. So they're able to do that. So maybe they don't have to hike the whole thing. But, whoop, oh, so sorry. Why does all my differential locks and four-wheel drive go off? There we go. See if we can offload this. So like I say, that's kind of more a curiosity I've had, but not one that I've worried about too much. It's just kind of interesting to see it happening when it's out there. So we did that, and we thought maybe we would hike the other side to come up to where they were doing the bridge work, but I ended up just going back to our vehicle. And the dog did too. We sat down for a little bit to rest, reading a little bit, and the dog was kind of restless. So we went back to our vehicle, and she went to sleep, and so did I. I kind of slept the afternoon away, dozing. It started raining, and eventually my boys came in. They must be kind of fair weather fishermen, if you will. Headed over to our house that we stayed at. It was a very nice house too, by the way. Someone has obviously put a lot of money into it. And it's kind of interesting. Later, we were looking at some of the properties in this area, and it's, I would say 2 and 3 times maybe what standard family homes are, that people would get here. And then there was some really expensive ones. The kind of the corridor where we were at on the highway was headed towards a major ski resort in our state. And the closer you got to where skiing was available in the winter, the more expensive the homes. And I don't know how all this translates into other currencies, but I saw a home, and it wasn't much of a home, on a postage stamp size of a lot that was $3 million. I mean, just blows my mind that that's what someone is asking for that, and apparently they're able to get it. Although it does seem that the economy's about ready to turn, so who knows what's going to happen with all that. But just kind of some mind-blowing stats, if you will. But otherwise, the house we stayed in was really nice. Very thankful for it, and glad we could stay there. It held, there was just 8 of us, my wife and I, my 2 sons, my oldest daughter, and her boyfriend stayed. And no, there, that isn't quite how it sounds, but he did stay with us. He was a good sport to put up with their family. And then aunt and uncle of mine also stayed there. A lot of times these vacation homes seem to have multiple rooms available. It's like they're set up to just warehouse people, the way they structure them. So it's a little light on living space, and it's heavier on sleeping space, because I think they realize people are going to just kind of park there, and then there's a lot of outdoor recreation they do. Am I going to be able to make it through by here? Let me see here. Oh, can't see very well. Ooh! I get acquainted with the combine here. I don't know if it's able to go past these trees to... Yeah, it's so tough on these opening rounds of fields for Courseplay to behave. Not that Courseplay ever behaves, but you know what I mean. I don't know. Can I sneak up and over? We'll just see. We'll just see. There we go. Alright, Combine, take off. That wasn't so bad. Except now it's gonna take away our sense of reality, and it's gonna drive all over the top of our crop. But it is what it is. And you know what? I'm looking at the clock here. I think I've bored everybody enough for this particular episode. So I'm going to terminate it here. Thank you so much for watching and listening to an old man and his drivel as he plays a game. Hope you're all doing well, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.